How did you go from Assemblies of God to Calvary? That's interesting. To Calvary. Well, my father was an Assemblies of God pastor, and so that's my heritage. But by the time I got through college, see, college was a very developing time for me. I attended a school that happened to be a church-related school. It was owned by a particular denomination that has lost its way, frankly. And this school, well, you know, they liked Jesus. If indeed he had ever really lived, they thought he was a good guy, major teacher, and worthy of being read. But, Son of God, resurrection, come on. This is the 20th century. I checked into college, and I was the lone person of my type on that campus. I overheard professors talking about me. Hey, we've got one. Let's drag him into the 20th century. Get this faith stuff out of him. One small problem they had, they were too late. I already knew the Bible. I already believed in God. I had seen too many things that God had done in me and in others. I had witnessed too many things that were outright miraculous. And as they would try to put it down, I would think, you jerks don't know, They'd talk about healing like, well, it's a hypnotic sort of thing. I'm thinking, I've seen babies healed. How do you hypnotize a baby? You could make a lot of money if you could figure out how. But here's what they did for me, see. But by the way, I took over the school. This was a fascinating thing. I became president of the student body, and we had a revival on campus. God did some wonderful things, but at the close of my schooling days, the bishop of that church and the head of the Department of Religion begged me to join that church. He says, if I can get down on my knees and do it, I will. Because he says, now here I am, I'm 20 years old. He says, you know things about God that we don't know. And we desperately need that. And I'm thinking, what? It was one of those moments in my life that I look back on and wonder, should I have? But then it would have been an attempt to put new wine into an old wineskin. And I tried hard enough with the assemblies and discovered that Jesus knew what he was talking about. Well, what they did for me, though, was they caused me to go back to the Bible and look at what I really could believe and defend in Scripture and examine my cultural church settings, see. And those cultural things that were strictly cultural that I could not defend. Those of you who were there last night heard one of the cultural things that Dennis was talking about at the very beginning. And I realized there were some things I could not defend. And I also realized that if I stayed with them, I would spend most of my time chagrined and defending. Plus the fact that they got mad at me. And so there came a time when I just decided, I've got to be a man of integrity. I'm not them, and they're not me. And I just quietly dropped out.